Welcome to this week's edition of the Life Lab, and I'm delighted to have a brilliant guest with me today, another brilliant guest, and he is George Bettany. He is a coach and the founder of Mara, and he's got a brilliant backstory as well, which we will get into a little bit. Welcome, George. How are you today?
Good, thanks for having me, Tom. Thanks for having me back. This is the. I'll be honest. This is the second time we're recording this. I'm gonna say it now. We've done a run. We've done a run through together. This is second run, so thank you for having me back and excited for the conversation.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, just to clarify as well, it was a really good conversation the first time. So I'm hoping we capture all the best bits from last time, and then yeah, hopefully we get some new nuggets of wisdom and insight and interesting things. So brilliant. Right. So George, tell us a bit about you. Tell us about your passions and yeah, what you do.
Yeah. So as you say, I'm a coach, sort of mainly a running coach, but really like to work on people's mindset and run I guess a running brand community. So we have run clubs, we do retreats, we do coaching, sort of group and online. And the whole philosophy is how the more you can let go and the more you can be in the moment and be fully in it, in the present moment, in the now, the more freely you'll run, the further you'll run, the faster you'll run, and the more fulfilling it is. So, yeah, the whole philosophy is how mindfulness and presence, sort of combined with movement and running, can help you go further. And yeah, we bring that to people in different ways, like I say, coaching retreats, run clubs, events, and more. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what about you personally and your passions? Obviously, Mara is a big extension of you, I suppose. But like, what
Mm.
what what about when you're not doing Mara? What's your passions there?
I feel like I'm passionate about. I think health and fitness is probably yeah, a big part of my life always has been. I think, I said to you before, when I was growing up, played a lot of football. Football was a big part of my life, and so sport, athletic performance was everything really. And there was a lot of parts of it I didn't enjoy. Like I sacrificed a lot growing
Mm,
up playing football, and it was literally me and my dad in the car driving around the country, to training and matches. So it was a lot of sacrifices, a lot I didn't enjoy. Like my mindset probably wasn't right, but equally, it's like where I've grown up, and I feel like today that's kind of what I do. It's performance, it's health, it's fitness, it's athletic performance combined with sort of mindset. And I think the presence element, the mindful element, is kind of I struggled for a long time. Used to be so in my head, and still to this day, I'm constantly working on this. But I used to be, yeah, kind of. I'd be playing football, but I'd be in my head, judging myself so much,
mm,
my last pass or worrying about my next pass, and I was never like in flow. There was like one or two games that I can remember where I was really in it and in flow, and they were my best performances, and I can still remember them. A lot of matches I can't remember,
mm,
and yeah, I just feel like I'm so passionate about that now because I need it. I felt what that feels like, and not only on in terms of how I feel fulfillment wise, but also performance wise, how good it feels to run and be live in that way. So I'm really
mm.
passionate about mindset, presence, that thing. I'm really passionate about how that can help you be healthier, happier, fitter. Um, I guess the only other thing I enjoy is I like creating. I like whether it's brands, yeah, uh, events, just businesses, startups. I love creating, and I think
Mm.
I guess that's a way of expressing myself as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Can we like I'm gonna completely go off the questions that we that I'd sent you prior to this, so sorry about that. But um mindset, right? So like just tell me what you mean by mindset, like and why you think it's important.
So I think a lot of my experience of, I guess, being an athlete growing up was that you want to perform your best on the pitch. Let's use football as the example. But a lot of the way I was taught was about obsessing over the outcome. So we need to
Mm,
win this match. We need to win this league. We need to do this in the next in this game or in this play. And so much of it was about outcome. Even school outcome, exams, results, grades, running often. I'm going to run a marathon. I want to run it in this time, like attachment, obsession over outcome. So I used to think that's how to perform at my best. If I really obsess and attach to that outcome, then I'll achieve it. But all it did for me was create fear. Um, Fear is the biggest thing that it created. It was like, if I don't achieve that, then what will that mean? So I was almost so attached to it that it meant that I didn't perform well. I didn't play my best. I didn't run my best. I didn't actually work my best because I was so attached to this future outcome. And no one taught me that there was a different way of being, a different way of, approaching things. And if you listen to the best athletes in the world, the best tennis players, the best golfers, the best when I watched The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, best maybe sports person ever, best basketballer of all time. They said his superpower was presence. If he was training, he wasn't thinking about the championship game at the weekend. He wasn't thinking about trophies. All he was thinking about was this training session is everything. And within that training session, he was thinking of the shot he was currently making. So it was like deep engagement with the current activity. And obviously that training session is a step towards achieving his goals. But it's like set the goal, let go of the goal emotionally, and then just focus on the immediate task in hand. No one taught me that. And I think I've learned that now over the last few years through my journey, I guess. And so now mindset for me is being as dialed in to the thing, the task, the session, the thing I'm doing, and being so all in on that, focused on that, and then emotionally almost detaching from the outcome, still working towards it, but letting it go and just focus on here and now. And for me, to develop that mindset has taken a lot of practice for me. I think it's taken a lot of practice to I'll notice myself sort of going to the future, and I've got to really pull myself back to be like, no, don't worry about the game at the weekend. Focus on now. Focus on this session, this run, this moment. And it's just a constant practice. And that's what mindset is to me. It's the ability to let go of the noise, let go of the past, let go of the future, and just really be able to focus in on the thing that you're looking to do.
Yeah. So if you're someone then that sort of struggles with that idea of presence, and I definitely struggle with presence, there's no doubt about it. And the modern world, I don't know whether it is more distracting than it used to be. Sort of feels like it is. Feels like there's some more going on around you, that, more things pinging and lights flashing and all that sort of stuff. Like, what are the practices that you employ to maintain that present mindset or develop it?
Yeah. And I'm the same as you. Like, I struggle with it the most. I've got, ADHD, kind of like very creative mind. So like I'll be doing one thing and my mind will go, oh my God, like I could do this as well. And it's so natural. Like if you ask my wife, and she's like, you talk about presence so much, but you're the least present person I know at times. And she's right. Cause like my default state is the next thing, or this. Yeah. So I almost need Mara and this mindset more than anyone, because with it, I'm a better person and I perform better. So the things that have worked for me, the biggest one for me, which is where the running really emerged and where Mara sort of was born, it was, I used to hate running, used to suffer on every run, used to judge myself so much, was so negative in my mind. Yeah. And there's a couple of books that I'd recommend. The Power of Now is an amazing book on this. And that I was reading that at the time of trying to get back into running, and it blew my mind. And then to apply that to running, there's a book called Mindful Ultra Running, and they're both basically the same. Everything I'm talking about here, they're just great books in like breaking that down. And I started to apply that to my runs. So I'd go out on a run, and a few of the practices were, every time you notice your mind going elsewhere, just count your breaths or count your stride. Really simple. And I found it so hard. Like I'd be like 1, 2, 3, and my mind would go, oh, what's for dinner? Like I'd be like, whoa, I've gone again. Yeah. So I was basically training myself on every run to just practice, like, George, just keep, every time there was a negative thought, not most thoughts are, that's not really a negative thought, what's for dinner? It's more the negative thoughts of like, can I do this? Yeah. Am I running fast enough? I thought I was fitting in this. Oh my God, this person's faster than me that's just ran past me down the canal. They're
Mm.
the negative thoughts that in these books they were basically telling me, let go of those. They're just weighing you down. And the way to let them go is to bring yourself back to the present. Because in the present, there's no judgment, there's no negativity. So I kind of couldn't get my head around that for a long time. But the more I practice, just like let go, come back, count my breath,
Mm.
count my stride, focus on my breath, focus on my stride. That really helped. And basically, what happened was I went from hating running, not being able to run honestly down the road. Like I'm not even joking. I couldn't run for 10 minutes or so unfit post
Mm.
uni, post working in London, all these things, drinking too much, eating too much. I was just so unfit. And I kind of applied that way of thinking to
Mm.
running for the first time. And I started to enjoy it for the first time. And as a
Yeah.
result, I was running further. So I think for anyone, maybe to start, back to your question, Power of Now is a great book.
Mm.
And then start to just notice your thoughts. If you slow down, notice your thoughts, bring yourself back to your stride or to your breath. It's a good place to start.
Yeah, we'll link to the Power of Now in the show notes on the other book that you mentioned. It's funny with that sort of keeping yourself present when you're running, because you're coaching me at the moment. Like I'm doing a lot more mileage in terms of like running than I have been doing, and it's really interesting because some days I really enjoy it, some days I really hate it. And I think a lot of that is down to the mindset that I have on that day. And, progressing in something like running is, you don't progress in a straight line, do you? It's sort of curvy and you hope that the gradient is sort of going up
Mm.
um, over time. So there's quite a lot in there for me, actually, just from what you said about when you're in the moment and you're feeling like it's not really your day for running. It's like there are things that you can do to make it more enjoyable and make it more satisfying just by getting in the present and getting out of, like
Mm.
what's this doing for my overall progress or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know what you think, but for me, when you say some days you hate it,
Mm.
I would suggest that the reason that you hate it is judgment of
Mm.
of it. So I used to judge myself so much. So like, if I had a vision for how I wanted a run to be, and it wasn't that, I would judge it. And I'd be on the run going, why am I feeling like this? Why am I not so fit
Mm.
today? I thought I'd be better than this. All of that is like, it's kind of like comparison of like reality versus vision. So like you had a vision of how you thought something was going to be, and then there's reality. And the
Mm.
difference between those two states, future and like the truth, reality, causes the pain, causes the judgment, causes the hate. If
Yeah.
you let go of like what you hoped would be, what you thought it would be, where you thought you'd be, how fit or fast you'd be, if you let go of that and just bring yourself to like, what is true? Okay, this is the pace I can run today. This is what I've got in the tank today. This is all I've got.
Mm.
For me, there's no heavy. There used to be so much heaviness, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not good enough. And like, the more I was able to notice their thoughts, like, if I'm able to let those go and just accept what is true and not judge it, then I feel light. So like,
Yeah.
whatever happens, like I ran a marathon a couple of weekends ago, like it was what it was. It wasn't like on paper like a great performance, and I know that, but I didn't feel any sense of judgment and distraction because I could
Mm.
accept what was true in the moment. And that's easy to say and hard to do. So it's a constant practice of like, first of all, it's noticing how much judgment. So when I started to notice my thoughts, I was like, oh my God, there are so many thoughts going on in my mind on a run that I wasn't aware
Mm.
of before I started to raise my awareness. So that's step
Yeah.
one, is just notice your thoughts. And then step two is, are you able to just notice them, let them go, and then bring your attention back? And just that practice of like raising awareness, noticing, and bring it back. That's big. And it took me months of doing that before I was able to really be able to say to you, I'm free on a run now. Like it took me a
Mm.
long time of acceptance, letting go, and practice. So I can really relate and resonate with you because, yeah, I used to hate a lot more of the runs than I do now.
Yeah.
I'm more accepting now.
Mm. It's
Does that
also,
does that resonate, by the way, Tom, in terms of judgment?
yeah, yeah, it does. I
Mm.
mean, yeah, it does. And I think the thing that really stood out that you just said for me was that sort of expectation versus reality. And I mean, obviously this isn't like a coaching session for me, but
Mm,
on Saturday, I went out, did like quite a long run, felt really good. It was a lovely morning, nice and chilled, went around the canals and all that sort of stuff. It was really nice. And then, had quite a busy weekend. Tuesday came to do something which was a bit more like, a bit more speedy, not an easy run. It was more of like tempo run.
mm,
Um, and found it really hard. And I think that I'd set an expectation with myself that, because I'd felt really good on Saturday, that would automatically feel really good on Tuesday and it would just be a natural progression, but it wasn't necessarily.
mm.
And that's fine, right? Doesn't,
Yeah,
it's fine. It's absolutely fine, but it didn't feel fine at the time.
yeah, nice. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And thinking about this, this is why often when I think about running, and I interviewed another running coach on the other
Mm.
podcast that I do, Beyond Potential, and he was talking about really running being like a metaphor for life. And there's a lot of really good stuff in what you said about it. But, it is a metaphor for lots of other different things in life.
I think Kipchoge, who's the best marathoner of all time, one of the greats, it's so funny. His statement is marathon is life. That's just
Mm,
what he says. Marathon is life. It's long. There's a lot of discomfort. There's
mm,
ups and downs. You have to be patient. You can't sprint it. Um, yeah, especially long distance running. It's such a good analogy for life. And what I found is, for me, I was suffering on every run I did mentally, and actually I was doing exactly the same in my life. I was judging everything in my life, comparing things, a lot of negative thought, a lot of distraction,
mm.
and it was just playing out in my running. So whenever I hear somebody say I hate running, or oh, running's not for me, or da da da, I feel passionate about changing that, because I'm like, if I can change how you feel on a run, then it will change. It will translate to your life. That's what it's done for me. And so
Yeah,
yeah, it is a good analogy. Running's just a great tool, really, for like practicing this mindset, and then you can apply it to everything else.
yeah. I'm just wondering if you could describe for me how you feel like take when you're not running, right? So you said like your wife would say like you're the least sort of present person because you're always sort of thinking about, all right, what's the next thing, what's the next thing. Like I always think about like when I feel distracted and I try and sit in the discomfort of that distraction and try and do nothing. And I almost feel like a sort of like quite visceral energy running through me, which is like I just can't sit still. I can't not go and do something, and it's real effort for me to sit in that. And
Mm.
I think I'm better at it than I used to be. Like, could you describe that feeling that you get when you think, oh, what's the next thing? And like how you just ground yourself back into the present and
Mm.
how do you do that?
It's such a great question. I think that's why, for me, it's been mindfulness and movement. I think I
Mm,
tried things like meditation and breath work, things that I can do today, but a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do, because it was such a big step for me to go from like ADHD to like sitting in silence with my thoughts. It was too intense.
mm,
So that it felt like too much. I couldn't do it. I'd sit there, and like you said, I'd be like, I need to get out of this. It was too,
mm,
the discomfort was too much. So I think moving and practicing was my way of essentially meditating whilst moving, whilst running, even whilst walking. Like a form of movement plus mindfulness has been my entry point. And I think for a lot of people, it's the same. Like, to sit in silence with your thoughts and with yourself, we rarely do it. So, like, to start doing it is such a big step. It can feel so uncomfortable, that I think the entry point of like, go for a walk and practice that, or go for a light run and practice that, is like
mm.
an easier starting point. Like, a lot of people run with music
Yeah.
because sometimes it's really good. Like, sometimes I'll run with music and it gives me like a lift, because I'm like, wow, I love this song. Often it used to be drown out my thoughts, drown out
Yeah.
how I feel, because like, I don't like this. So
Yeah.
even just 5 minutes of no headphones for some people is like mindful. That's a state of new awareness.
Mm,
That might be big. So I just don't push it. Don't go too far. Step into it with whatever feels good. Like for me, running slowly was my starting point. I'd never run slowly before. It scared me to run slowly. That was the equivalent of like a silent retreat. that was the
Yeah.
that was the equivalent of like a 10-day Vipassana silent Buddhist retreat. Just running
Mm,
slowly without headphones was like massive. And then what I
yeah.
found is the more I've practiced that, the more stillness I've created by doing that. I've almost been intrigued of like, okay, that's made me feel like this. What if we do a little bit more, a little bit more?
Mm,
And that's led me now to doing things like meditation and breath work. And now the silent retreats are the kind of things that I like doing because I'm even like an ultra marathon, like no headphones, just me, I can do now. I wouldn't have been able to run for 12 hours on my own because my mind would have crushed me in the
yeah.
first hour. So start wherever feels good, make a small step towards it and go from there.
Yeah. Because that, I suppose you have to do things that are authentic to you, don't you? And I don't know. I also think that sometimes it's quite difficult to be present with other people in your life, and we have like some quite strict rules at home now that we never used to have. Like we used to sit like eating our tea, and we'd be looking at phones and stuff. And like now we're like we don't have any devices at the table. We do sometimes have the TV on. We're like we'll let ourselves do that, but we don't have any devices on the table. We also have like a no devices in the living room rule, um,
Mm.
which I found like really just really good for just like connection. With my partner because we just have like some just time where it's just us. We don't necessarily need to be
Mm-hmm.
talking, but we're not like always somewhere else. And I don't know. I think all these things are, quite valuable to do.
Yeah, and difficult to do. It's
Mm,
it's difficult. So it takes practice. It takes like whether it's setting boundaries or just a discipline of like I'm going to try. I'm going to try and run without headphones today. Just try. And if it's too much, you
yeah,
can always step back. It's all good. But just try. And you can't. It's not about being perfect. It's just doing your best.
yeah, brilliant. So tell us a bit about Mara then. So like what made you start Mara, what it's all about, and where it's going to go in the future, where you want to take it.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it started kind of during lockdown, and like I said, growing up, I played football, so athletic performance, sport was my thing, but my mindset wasn't quite right. And then the last few years, I ran a company with my best mate that worked in, I guess, mindset as well. It was coaching, therapy in the workplace, and I learned a lot about myself during that journey because I had to do like the inner work, with a coach myself, therapy, meditate. I did practiced everything
Mm,
on that journey, and I guess by doing that, during lockdown, it kind of, I guess, running emerged as like this thing that I used to do a lot of really when I think about it growing up, but I'd kind of gone so far away from it. Uni, work, getting into work, got so far away from my true self and from health and fitness. Like I said at the start of this call, was one of my passions. I was kind of so
mm,
far away from it. I feel like I started to come back to it, and then lockdown was where it sort of had the opportunity to come to start again. So I think I realized during lockdown I need, rather than sitting at home, I think like a lot of people drinking too much, eating too much, feeling stuck. I think a lot of people use that window that we had to just get outdoors for a walk. And then I
mm,
kind of felt like maybe I can run, maybe I can run. And I was listening to those books at the time, almost like applying everything I'd learned from Sanctus and through my own journey there. It was like applying my Derby County football days plus Sanctus, this opportunity, this window with COVID that allowed me to explore it. And I've kind of, that's kind of where my running in this way started.
mm,
And basically, like I said, I kind of realized how much better it felt and also how much further I could run with it. And I ended up running during lockdown a virtual marathon, the London Marathon virtually. And I almost enjoyed, is maybe not the right word, but yeah, every run felt different. And then I completed what others would see as this big achievement, but it
mm,
didn't feel like that because I didn't attach to the outcome. I wasn't obsessed by it. I wasn't worried about it. I just took each run at a time, each step at a time, each breath at a time. And then it was almost proof that like I didn't believe that if I did that, it would mean I could achieve something great. And
Mm.
running that first marathon was almost proof to me of like, oh my God, this way of being and running works. It works. I've just ran a marathon effortlessly in comparison to how running used to feel. So then I was wired by it. I was like, I need my family, friends to know this. Like, I just need to tell people that you can do, if you do this, running's way better and you feel better.
Mm.
And that's really how Mara started. Like, I just started on Instagram, basically sharing, you know, if you do this, it'll feel better. No one taught me as well running a lot of, if you want to improve and run further, a lot of your runs have to be slow and steady. Like 80%
Yeah.
of your running should be a 2 out of 10 pace. I never knew that. So I started to run more slowly and would run further and was sharing that online. And basically like a community of people formed from there. Like I started saying, do you want to run? I'm going to run on a Wednesday. Anyone want to run with me in this way? Mindfully, you know, aerobically, running
Mm.
together, running to feel good and enjoying the process versus being so attached to the outcome. All these messages I've been saying on this call. And basically a group formed from there and it became a run club in a way before maybe like today, there's lots of run clubs. This was kind of like
Yeah.
before run clubs were a thing like they are today, like social run clubs. And yeah, I guess it's just evolved and grown from there. So we've now got different locations, run clubs in different locations across Staffordshire where we're based. The online coaching has emerged by me stepping more into like wanting to teach more people and help more people grow. So like doing the one-to-one, I guess it's run coaching, but it's mindset coaching. That's what I really enjoy,
Mm.
whether it's one-to-one or in groups. We've done retreats where there's like running involved, hikes, saunas, ice baths, meditation, breath work, basically a weekend of presence
Yeah.
and fitness and movement. And yeah, the brand today has got like a few hundred people in that community, and there's a number that are coached by Mara now. There's a number that are part of the run clubs. There's a number that come on our retreats, and I think the future of the brand and like what I would love us to do is just essentially to coach, teach, share this method and philosophy just with more people. That's what I care about. I just want more people to feel how I feel now, and I feel like running's the entry point. But really,
Mm.
it's almost like beyond running. I think movement and mindfulness is always going to be in Mara's DNA, and running's always going to be in there as a result. But I think what I care about is teaching people how to let go and then feel free, run free, and go further. So the way that looks, I think the coaching element is like just developing that, improving that, um, bringing that to more people so that we can, you know, reach people outside of Staffordshire. I feel like I've been able to touch a lot of people locally and
Mm.
improve people's lives locally, but I kind of want to help more people, and then continue to do the local work that we're doing, you know, from the events to the run clubs and the other things as well. So yeah, the mission's kind of stayed the same, and like my fuel for it stayed the same. But I think how we do that has evolved from like me on a Wednesday night saying "run with me" to
Mm.
now, you know, different ways for people to access that.
Yeah. Because you want to like you want to expand a bit more and like help people in corporates and things, I think as well. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, we've did our first couple. We've done our first few,
Mm.
where either people that have experienced Mara have then gone, "Oh, my team would love this, or my company would love this." So we did one this weekend where we did a retreat for a company essentially, and we just did what we always do, but just to a
Mm.
new audience. And what was amazing for me was like it's the same result, it's the same impact. It's like if you give people the space, the opportunity to practice this stuff for a morning or for a day, for a weekend, it just works. Like
Mm.
people need it, and yeah, that's all I care about. So like if I can bring that to a team of people, an organization, a group, people in locally, people online, I kind of don't care. I just want to teach people and give it to people, and then the the bit that's important is that it's an ongoing practice. So we did the retreat at the weekend where we gave like a real deep sort of a lot of space for people to really practice it. And then at the
Mm.
end, I think once you know how it feels, you're like, right, I've got to keep this up. It's the same as going for a run. You'll go for a good run and be like, oh, that felt good. But if you don't run again, you're not going to get fitter and you're not going to keep feeling the benefit. And it's the same with moving mindfully, everything from meditation, breath work, journaling, running mindfully, walk. it's a practice that you want to sustain and keep going. So for me, I'm
Mm.
sort of passionate as well about, rather than it being this one off, I'm like, you kind of need to keep practicing it. So we can help you keep practicing it. That's what I want to give people. That's what the run clubs have given people, like a once a week opportunity to just a space for them with others, let go, feel
Mm.
free. That's what it is. It's like a weekly meditation. And I kind of want to, whether it's corporate organizations, teams, individuals, just keep giving that to people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure that it is really impactful, actually. For anybody, but and a corporate team to be able to go and sort of have that experience, because I work with lots of corporates and they really struggle with presence. Actually, they really struggle to be with each other and with themselves, because we're always thinking about what's the next thing. We're always thinking about that next output that we've got to hit in business, whether it's a revenue target or it's a cost challenge or it's a
Mm.
project delivery, and sometimes I think it's really important that we help people to get back into that presence. um Talk to me just a little bit about Staffordshire, because Staffordshire is where you have Mara, your three. I think you've got three, haven't you? You've got Lichfield, Stone, and Stoke.
Yeah.
And you're from Lichfield, and you've sort of come back to the area. Like, just tell us a little bit like about what Staffordshire means, and like your journey from Staffordshire away and then back again, and what brought you back.
Yeah. Also, on that last point on you described the workplace and leaders.
Mm,
It was interesting at the weekend. I will come back to the Staffordshire question. The
yeah.
I framed it by saying, you're a team organizer. My background is athletic performance, and our whole philosophy is about how presence improves performance. And performance is the thing. Performance is the thing. Michael Jordan, basketball, was the best performer in the world, and he basically was so present he could perform at his best. And if you think about
Mm,
most teams, most leaders, organizations, that's what it's about. It's about,
Mm.
as a team, you want to get on that pitch or be in that boardroom or be in that meeting and perform at your best. So like, by really directly linking, it's not fluffy. Like, it's so unfluffy. Like, it's so clear. Like, presence equals performance. It just does. So it felt really good to be in that room and say, like, look, if you want to perform better, this is, forget the words mindfulness, meditation, presence. This is about
mm,
focus. And if
yeah.
you're able to deeply focus, deeply engage, you'll perform better. That's what this is. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting because it felt so right. It was almost like so tangible, like as tangible as saying to you, if you want to run better, your way to performing better on a run is being so engaged that you'll train better and perform better on race day. It's the same in the workplace. It's the same.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I think the
Well,
more I
well,
talk about it, the more passionate I realize I am about it.
yeah. I mean, just before we get back to Staffordshire, so I had some hypnotherapy, um, about this subject, actually, about how I could be more present, and it was really in that work context. And one of the things that Louisa, the hypnotherapy coach, did with me was, like, in trance, she made me think of, like, she got me to think of, like, this room. It was almost like your sort of control room of your brain, and you can sort of see where your brain goes in terms of like what that looks like and what you imagine. But mine was like sort of out of a James Bond film. It's like a 60s sort of thing with like loads of like big knobs and levers and stuff. And so it's like one of the things is like a big lever, or it's like a circular lever that says presence on it. And so when I'm in the moment, I sort of, and I feel myself getting distracted, I can go back into that and I can turn up that presence dial, and I can turn down the distraction lever or whatever. And it's, I just think we've got to find our own way of being able to do that and turn off some of that noise in our brain and focus on, what is right in front of
Yeah.
us.
And I think such a good point. And I feel like you said earlier, is it getting worse? I think it is, in terms of the external distraction and the external noise of
Mm.
social media, of your phone, of email, of I think the noise of distraction is becoming greater. So for like
Mm.
to work, to be a present husband, to be a present dad, to be a good performer, it's becoming more difficult. So you need a counter to that. You can't just expect to be able to like focus as well as maybe I did even previously. So I think it's actually becoming critical that people have a practice of being able to focus their mind. Because if not, the external takes you away, and that's forgetting like the ups and downs of life. Like
Mm.
somebody I'm coaching has just had a big thing and traumatic thing in their life where they've been in hospital. I spoke to him this morning, and that is something that comes in out of nowhere, and obviously is a huge like sort of out of nowhere hit. And that's what life gives you, those daily and then big ones sort of yearly or whatever.
Mm.
That's without the external noise of social media, of your phone. So it's almost like on top of life's difficulty, we've also got this other layer now that is only expanding and getting stronger. So our
Mm.
inner ability to not be distracted, to let go of thought, distracting thought, to focus on what the task at hand is more critical than ever.
Mm.
And I think genuinely, the more I talk to you, the more I can't help but hold the passion in, because I think it's because I need it more than anyone. So
Mm.
if I need it, then everyone around me does too. So it's not like I'm speaking from this place of like I know I've got the answers. It's more like we need this. So
Well, yeah, and
yeah,
also I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah,
the answers are going to have to evolve over time. Like the answer today to how you are more present. I mean, obviously there are some
yeah.
principles that it's always been you can always use to sort of stay present, but actually, what works today might not completely work in whatever is going on in 10 years because the world just changes
Mm,
so quickly and yeah,
mm.
we've got to respond to all these different things. Just like if you think like, oh, soon we're going to be wearing like glasses that everything just keeps like getting thrown at us whether we like it or not, and
Yeah, that's true.
you don't even have to
Yeah,
get
that's
anything
true.
out of your pocket to look at. You just gotta it's all going to be there, and it's scary stuff.
Yeah, I must admit though, the tools that I'm employing now, like the power of now, for example, he's basically showing how the Stoics, like Aurelius, like
Mm.
these great figures from hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, the Buddhists, like these principles that they used, like are still true today. Basically, focusing on your breath. Your breath
Mm.
is the most present thing going. That's why it's a good tool, because like I'm breathing now in the moment. So if you focus on your breath, you're just focusing on the moment. Like your stride as you walk, it's happening now. So like by
Mm.
focusing on it, and basically in this book, he's like, they've been doing this for hundreds of years, guys. Like it works. So it's
Yeah.
almost like make it accessible and normal and kind of like cool today. And I feel like that's what Mara's mission is like make running mindfully a thing, make
Mm.
meditating a thing, make letting go of thought a thing, make it normal. And it's rooted in kind of like these Buddhist principles that have existed. I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just kind
Yeah.
of making it available to people. So, and running is like the disguise, like it's a run club, but really it's Buddhism.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's like you say, that's evolved. Like the way people are accessing it has changed, but at
Yeah.
its core, I think it's the same stuff that like Marcus Aurelius was talking about in his book, The Meditations, from like 1,000 years ago. It is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'd never thought I'd mention Aurelius on this podcast. There you go. We went there.
I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got a friend, Raquel, who she's she's either will have been on the podcast by the time this gets released, or she's got an episode coming up. So she is big into joy and the sort of idea of finding joy in the little things in life. And there's so many links to what you're saying. It's about presence and this. She's got this thing about like she really enjoys her coffee in the morning, and she sits, she savors it, she finds joy in it. Whereas a lot of us will just, drink a coffee whilst surfing the internet or,
Mm,
checking Instagram or whatever it is, and just never actually just thinking about what am I doing right now and what does it taste like? What does it feel like?
mm,
What's good about it? And there's so much in that.
mm.
It's just presence at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And yeah, I could talk about it for hours, but that is yeah, it
Mm.
is. Joy is the other side of that, and also it's like performance is one side of it, because like let's say you want to produce a social media post and you've got this idea, and the thought comes in, the distraction comes in. What will people think in the future? Oh my God, my
Mm.
last post wasn't that good. Oh, I don't know. Like that all gets in the way of you creating and clicking post. So not only does it make it you perform better because you actually release that post and then you move on to the next one more quickly. So you perform better and you're more efficient and effective, but you also enjoy it more. Like it's
Mm.
so tiring. Oh God, what will people think? Like that, all that heaviness. Like it's actually then
Yeah.
enjoyable to create. It's enjoyable to like have a cup of, it's enjoyable. So life's more fulfilling. Like if you're able to spend more time there. And I think the other thing I've learned is it's not a final state. You don't just get there and like become enlightened. You're like, oh, I'm done. I'm like,
Mm.
that's the equivalent of like, just you're a runner and you can run marathons forever. No, you have to keep practicing and training. But
Yeah.
the more you practice, the more able you are to just sit in that space of like joy, fulfillment, love, performance, effectiveness. There's so much benefit to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Back to Staffordshire quickly.
Yeah, I just thought
No, it's fine.
taken
It's
you
fine.
away.
It's fine. No, I mean, I'm just quite interested in this sort of idea of like you go away, you come back, and because it sort of happened to
Mm.
me, and it's like what happens there, and yeah,
Yeah.
what was it for you? What does it feel like?
Yeah, I just think it's the classic, and we talked about it before we came on. A couple of years ago did a TED talk, and
Mm.
the title of it is "Home is just a breath away." That's the story, and the story I wanted to tell was exactly this. Like growing up, I used to think I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled on the pitch. I didn't feel at peace on the pitch. I didn't feel like I was quite myself there playing football. Same at school. Same growing up in Lichfield in Staffordshire. So I used to think I had to go somewhere else, go somewhere new to find the feeling of fulfillment, joy, everything we've just described. Like it
Mm.
must be in a different place. So then I moved to loads of different places. Um, the work. I tried different jobs, tried different companies and different things. Yeah, I just thought it was external. And the minute I started doing this kind of work, so through Sanctus, like I had my first coaching session, I did my first meditation session, and started to like stop and feel and breathe and like everything we talked about, rather than next thing, next thing, next thing.
Mm.
It was like what's here now. It was really, really hard to do, really uncomfortable to do. But the minute I started that, the more I realized like it's the answers to peace, fulfillment, joy aren't anywhere else other than within me. And rather than seeking the next thing, seeking external, hoping a new relationship, job, or location, place I live will change things, I have to change from within. That's the journey I went on. And what
Mm.
was amazing about that is the further I went in, the more I realized actually being active, being healthy, being fit, running, being near my family, spending time with my family, being outdoors in nature, um, that's what I love. And I was like, that's all at home. I
Mm.
didn't need to go up to London, all over the world to find that feeling. I've just had to stop and go within. And then once I started to do that, it kind of led me home. It led me to home, feeling at home within me.
Mm.
And like on the outside, that led to like doing the work I'm doing with Mara. That kind of emerged from that place. My girlfriend that I was seeing when I was 16, my first girlfriend, I'm now married to, and I have lived with her in Lichfield, 5 minutes down the road from my mum and dad. We've just had a baby together. He's 5 months old. Like
Mm.
it's crazy when I think about it, but it started with the work that this whole call has been about. It started with that kind of work. And then that led me to like being more me, expressing more of me and feeling more at
Mm.
home within me. And that's led to everything I do now, my life, what it looks like now. So, and that's the TED talk. And even that talk, like a few years ago, public speaking for me was so nerve anxiety inducing.
Mm.
And that all of this work allowed me to do that, and I enjoyed it. I didn't want it to end. I was completely in the moment, and it's probably one of the best talks I've done because I was so in it. I performed well, so I love that talk because it's kind of like an embodiment of everything that we're talking about. Like
Mm.
it just, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that without everything that we've discussed. That's another public speaking, speaking in front of groups, expressing yourself in meetings or with friends, like that all comes from like here. So yeah, that's home is just a breath away. Home is just a breath
Yeah.
away is what I called it.
Well, that was a really beautiful way to sort of summarize the conversation, really.
Yeah,
didn't
true.
wasn't like didn't sort of think that was going to happen. That wasn't purposeful, but it's see, yeah, it really sort of brings it all back
Absolutely.
round to where we started, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah, excellent. Well, where can people find out more about you and find out more about Mara and what Mara's up to and all that?
So on socials, it's at Mara Running or at Mara Run Club, or I'm at George Bettany, so we can link those. And the website's the same, so just Google Mara and you'll find it. So yeah, we've got more events, retreats coming up. Coaching, we're launching more fully over the next few months as well. Um, the corporate side that you said as well, we'll be doing more there. So yeah, however people want to get involved, whether it's online or in person, like hopefully we can give people a bit of this wherever they are. And thank
Yeah.
you for having me as well. I've really enjoyed this. So thank you for having me back on.
Hi, no, it's been awesome, and yeah, you're a gift to the world and to Lichfield. Like you can see, well, and Staffordshire, and you can see what you're doing with Mara. You only have to go to the runs on a Wednesday night and see how many people show up and how much joy it's bringing people. So yeah, so kudos to you, and yeah, keep doing it. And I wish you all the best for everything that you do in the future. And
Legend.
yeah,
Thank you, Tom.
thank you again for coming on. And yeah, see you all next time.